Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Well, hello there, Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon here, live from Tupelo for our Mississippi Live Game of the Week. You're watching Mississippi Live Weather at 6, and we thank you so much for joining us, for supporting us on what is a cool night. It is going to be very, very chilly. So we have 6 total North half games around the region going on this evening. The one here in town, of course, voted in the Tupelo area as our Game of the Week, and we'll talk a lot more about all the things going on with that come up here in a couple of minutes. But when we talk about your weather forecast, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's going to be a chilly night for football, not just here, but all over the area. We do anticipate that the rain will return to the forecast on your Saturday. We do anticipate, again, for some of us, it will be a fairly wet day. And then possibly some of that also continuing into at least part of your Sunday. We'll look at that in more detail here in a couple minutes. And then the cold isn't going anywhere. We got plenty of chilly days ahead. In particular, looking toward next week, we have some teens out there for wind chills eventually. But outside this evening in the Tupelo area, we're coming in 43 degrees at our Game of the Week location. 43 is our feels like as well. That's the noteworthy thing because that means we do not have much of a wind chill. There's not much wind. So it is a cold evening, but it's not going to be a cold and blustery sort of evening. And is what you see is what you get. What do you need? You need to be layering up. Certainly, I have the gloves on. I will admit the long jacket, the insulated one, long sleeves on below that. Maybe I'm just a little bit of a weenie as far as that's concerned, but I'm going to be warm, probably unlike Mr. Maynard. We'll talk to him here in a little bit, hopefully as well. He is on his way back from the Egg Bowl where he was at earlier on today, and certainly he had a great time. I know a lot of folks did as well. And congratulations again to Ole Miss on the win on that game. Mississippi State with a good, hard-fought effort today as well. 43 temperature in Tupelo and Amory coming about 46 degrees in Water Valley, 49 for Cleveland, and Greenville coming about 49 degrees as well. The wind chill, again, one of those factors that we're monitoring, and that comes in where it feels like it's about 42 in Booneville at this instant, 45 in New Albany, about 45 in Oxford. And I mentioned Oxford because it's Oxford and Tupelo here that are meeting for our Game of the Week. Both teams, again, only one loss on the season. And in this case, Oxford's only loss was to Tupelo and Tupelo's was to West Point. Our forecast this evening, though, says that the only thing heating up is the gridiron because it's going to get a lot colder with the temperatures there going about 36 by 10 p.m., 35 as we look toward 1 o'clock in the morning, 33 as we head toward 4 a.m. So tomorrow morning, not quite as cold as the last couple of mornings. Clouds on the increase, and that is the reason why. As we look in here close, we'll widen this just a little bit more. You can see the high thin clouds representing some cirrus aloft up there in the atmosphere, made up of ice crystals because of how high up they are. If we go a bit more wide than this, one thing that Caleb will show us back to the west is we are looking at our next frontal system back there on the plains. You can start to see a little bit of the green back to Oklahoma and Texas. And if we go even wider than this there, you can see that the actual cold front of this with that is still even west beyond that there. That will sweep in and continue to kind of bring some rain chances late tomorrow before that really makes an impact more toward tomorrow night. So as we bring things now back in a little bit closer, that shield of green you see also mixed with blue to the north. Yeah, there's some snow with that up towards St. Louis and Springfield, Missouri. But for us here in the Magnolia State, this is just rainfall and honestly lighter variety rainfall, the main impact that we probably end up seeing out of this. Maybe a couple of rumbles eventually, but you'll note here between now and, say, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, not expecting much of significance there. So hour-by-hour forecast over the next 24, as you would imagine, it is not going to be warm, but it will be increasing the moisture values, and that means temperatures will increase a little bit more for tomorrow from 33 at 6 a.m. or 50 by noon, and then we kind of hang there. Generally speaking, close to the 50-degree point, as you can see there, through noontime, 3, 6 p.m. I mean, even by tomorrow evening, we're only 47, so that means we're kind of held up a little bit more because of the moisture and, again, the showers that we will have. Now, we are tracking in more detail where those rain showers will be the heaviest, looking at an updated version of our future cast here in a couple minutes. Also coming up in 60 seconds here on Mississippi Live Weather, we're looking at additional chances for moisture next week, in particular as we look toward Monday and into Tuesday, there's been some social media speculation that could be, significant wintry stuff. I'll tell you right now, that's not going to happen. But we'll look at kind of what could end up being for a few folks a change over to maybe something other than just rainfall, where that would be the most likely, even though for most of us it's not likely. Coming up in 60 seconds as Mississippi Live Weather continues here from our Game of the Week brought to you by Casey Lot in just a couple of moments.
This roof's getting installed with our premium roofing system. Backed by our 50-year warranty. And there's a 0% financing, no payment for 6 months options that this customer utilized. If you're looking for a new roof and you need an affordable option, call Absolute Restoration.
Can I ask a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog, but she's little.
Do you have any unlocked guns around the house?
We do have a gun, but it's stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access. Appreciate you asking.
Yeah, of course.
The bravest thing that my dad has done has been going back to school.
It wasn't when he first enlisted, it was when he found his first support group.
The bravest thing she did is when she asked for help.
This portion of Mississippi Live Weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lovehon.
We are live here in Tupelo from our Mississippi Live Game of the Week location presented by Casey Lott. The Tupelo stands behind me here. Tupelo taking on Oxford. What is expected to be a 7A battle here for the North Half Championship. And against stands, everybody's good and bundled up. You definitely have to layer up if you're going to any of these games this evening. Luckily, you can make your little area where a little warmer, but when we're thinking about preparing, gloves, yes, layers, yes, probably a blanket to sit on. I always recommend that. You think of these cold stands here, you insulate your tail feathers, you hold more of that heat in, it makes a difference. Again, when we look at that forecast for this evening, then I think it's no shock that it's not going to be hot. We're 42 for that pregame temperature, 38 by halftime, 36 degrees by the final snap of these games under what should be mostly clear skies. Those high thin clouds we call cirrus clouds are on the increase, but those don't produce any precipitation. But there will be some clouds that do start to produce some precipitation. That's coming in here in a couple of minutes. We'll talk more about where those are. But Mississippi Live Weather Radar, not showing any of those overhead at this point in time as we are clear and dry and expected to stay that way through the evening. Temperature is about 43 right now in Holly Springs. Down in West Point, where again, another one of those big games going on tonight. They're sitting about 42 at this instant, 41 in Columbus, 44 for Macon, and 41 for Louisville, 49 back there for Cleveland. So wind chill temperatures slicing off maybe a degree or two. But again, as we mentioned, one of the benefits to tonight, the wind is not breezy. That will change with our next front arriving tomorrow night. And you wait for it. Sunday is going to be downright chilly because of just how cold it will feel because of that wind that will be significant. But here looking at the hour-by-hour forecast for your Friday night, we continue to keep things again with limited wind there, only about a few miles per hour, maybe 1 or 2 miles per hour at most. Clouds on the increase, but no precipitation coming from those. Those are high and thin clouds. And that's an important factor because we look at the rain chances here, right? We don't really show many at 10 p.m., so we're clear for these games this evening and clear for everyone to get back and forth where they need to go. But as we go toward the pre-dawn hours of early Saturday morning there, we're looking at the clouds, and then we start to see just a little blip of green right there, like that, right? Very near the Mississippi River. I don't think most of that's going to be making it to the ground at that point, outside of maybe a couple of sprinkles. Our atmosphere is very dry. Look at lows, and we're going to hold it on low temperatures here for a moment. Because when we look at the low temperatures on your Saturday morning, you'll notice that near the Mississippi River, Caleb, we have around 40 degrees for that low. And that's where you saw that green, right? Yet near the Mississippi-Alabama state line, it's around 30. That 10-degree temperature difference there is the difference between where we're starting to moisten up the atmosphere there near the Delta and back west, back to the east there. We have, again, drier air. It would take us a little longer to moisten that up. So the headline then is that while initially we're going to have some green on the radar, even in the app, Most of that's not going to make it to the ground until a little later on. So looking at wind chills for tomorrow morning, not as much of a factor, thankfully. Mid-30s back for the Delta versus mid-20s, say Tupelo, Amory, coming up 28 degrees, 25 for Red Bay, and 29 for Corinth for that wind chill temperature to begin the day. Okay, so as we look at the green, you see those showers starting to move again from the east to west through the area there. And we expect maybe only a couple of sprinkles really kind of coming from that as we go into like, say, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. But becoming more prevalent by noontime as we're starting to get things a little bit more moist there. And as a result, that's when we'll start seeing a little bit more moisture. But honestly, for a lot of us, even where we show the heavier stuff, we're 3 p.m. there for Cleveland, back to Clarksdale, this might only add up to a couple tenths of an inch. And this is not going to be a heavy rainfall producer during that time. So notice by 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., we do have a few spots where we have some red showing up in there. So there will be some thunderstorms. But in general, most of these are just going to be lighter variety showers. And notice we still have those wind chill temperatures coming there in the mid 40s, even into the afternoon. So obviously not a particularly warm day, and that's your warmer of the 2 weekend days. We're 54 for the high temperature in Bruce, 55 there in Eupora, coming to about 57 in Kosciuszko as well as Belzona, 57 Greenwood, but only 49 in Corinth and Boonville. So certainly a bit of a contrast back to the north and west. Our SEC football forecast presented by Carl Hogan Toyota. We're 52 for the first play of that game. Again, the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn, always a tussle. And we expect we'll be 47 by halftime, 46 for the conclusion. If for one reason or another you happen to be heading out there to Auburn for that game, it'll be warmer than tonight's game, but not exactly a warm one, certainly, as we're kind of wrapping up the season there for SEC play. Okay, so up front, that one we were looking at on a way, way, way wide shot there starts to get in here as we look toward around 10 p.m. tomorrow night, and that will kick up the winds. That's one of the big factors that will really ratchet up the wind chills behind that. Notice as we watch that front move through, maybe a couple of rumbles associated with it, but light showers to moderate showers, the main factor. By Sunday morning at 6 a.m., as you can see, the lightest variety stuff mainly gone for Grenada, Water Valley, Oxford, even Tupelo at that point, and shifting toward the east. Wind chills, mid-30s to begin early Sunday. So Sunday morning's low temperatures, again, probably around the 40-degree point, but watch those two numbers below my head here as we go through the day. 9 a.m. with 41, 35 on the average. Now, notice by noontime, as those last showers start to shift out of here, temperatures don't increase much. We'll say 44 for that temperature at noon on Sunday, and about 38 for that wind chill temperature. And those winds, very breezy out of the north and west. And you can see those north winds there again, plowing in with only 40-degree wind chills by 3 p.m. and 35 towards 6 p.m. So the headline should be, through that time period there, it is not going to be a warm day at all for your Sunday. It remains fairly chilly. Rainfall totals, again, with this initial wave here, somewhere in the neighborhood of around half an inch or so for Clarksdale, out there toward Cleveland and up toward Holly Springs, perhaps around 0.4 of an inch, but only 1,400 to the Amory, 1,700s there in the Pontotoc and Houston area, and about a 1/4 inch in Tupelo. So northwest to southeast, obviously big difference there as far as how much rain doesn't fall out of this, or at least doesn't truly accumulate. Okay. So now as we bring back in here future tasks, we're going to look at the extended portion here. For Monday, we're starting off dry, but look at those wind chill temperatures, mid-20s, and that is highly optimistic. I have projections that for Monday morning are more like the teens for spots such as Holly Springs or Horn Lake or Clarksdale, and for many more of us, possibly the case again as we look toward early Tuesday morning as well. But as we go through the day, rain chances start increasing. We show some of those Cleveland, Greenville, back toward around Belzona by, say, noontime on Monday. This is our next storm system. This is the one that rumor had it would have some wintry stuff. Rumor that didn't come from us outside of maybe a flake, but we'll talk about that in a second. Keep saying that today. That's my crutch phrase. Either way, it is just green on the map, and it is rainfall, fairly widespread, light to moderate rainfall there, showing up by around 6 p.m. On your Monday evening. And notice 40, that temperature. But watch that temperature staying above freezing, 11 p.m. or so there. We have, again, moderate showers. And again, this could be an additional maybe half inch to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall if we get lucky here for Monday night with this next wave. As this kind of slides through, you'll notice, again, I will stop it here for early Tuesday morning. Some spotty showers becoming a little pink. I mean, you got to maybe break out your microscope or zoom and take a screenshot and zoom it in there up for Tippah County, Benton County, back up toward Marshall County there near the Tennessee state line. A little bit of a mix. What is a mix? Mainly rain, but could there be a couple of flakes? Yes. Is everybody going to school Tuesday morning? Yeah. But is it impossible to see a couple flakes? No. So let's at least have that perspective there. 38, that temperature we show on the average. Some spots are going to be a bit cooler than that, closer to the freezing point there. I honestly think that number is a bit high. So again, looking beyond that, a lighter shower activity kind of moving through it is progressing to your Tuesday. We start drying things out, but that continues to set the stage on what will be a chilly work week. Okay, so by Tuesday evening, we start clearing things out. Another cool night by late, early Wednesday morning there, but we're already on Saturday. So let's talk about this Saturday and the rainfall that's with us. Again, light to maybe moderate rainfall, picking up as we go through the day. First part of the day is mainly dry. Certainly of your 2 weekend days, it's the warmer, not that we might consider 52 particularly warm. 7-day forecast shows you that, again, Sunday, we are cooling things down a bit more with those low temperatures there in the mid-30s Sunday morning, but that's kind of hiding the fact that the wind chill is going to be a lot colder than that, and we'll never probably feel like that 47 it shows there all day long. It is just going to be a downright chilly day. 45 the high on Monday, and again, rainfall picking up as we go through the day. We anticipate, again, maybe some rumbles with that. And I should address the fact that it's not inconceivable that late Saturday night, there could be some stronger thunderstorms down toward Louisiana, locations back west of us, but not necessarily for our area as far as that's concerned. And then by, next week, obviously, we keep it cool into the week. 60 is our normal. And yeah, maybe some rumbles late in the week as well. But luckily, Caleb, as far as severe weather is concerned, that's not something we're really contending with all the way through the extended forecast. The rumbles here, I think, from both teams. Again, Oxford and Tupelo at our Mississippi Live game of the week. Taking the field, the big 7A matchup here between two of the top teams in the entire state among all rankings. Tupelo, of course, the defending 7A champion with a lot on the line tonight. Another trip back to the state championship, which, of course, will be down at Davis Wade Stadium next week. But this evening, as we're looking toward those games, we have a roundup of the last three games we didn't cover at 5 o'clock. Come up from our Will Kohlmeyer. Will, what do you got?
When you've been injured, don't settle for a lawyer who doesn't even know where you live. Call Langston and Lott. Local lawyers, personal service, real results.
It's Friday night y estamos activos. Head out early. Drinks flowing to 11.
No sé qué pasó. I didn't even drink that much.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Welcome to Kohlmeyer's Corner, 6 o'clock edition. Normally that's set aside for college football, but of course we had the Egg Bowl already today down in Starkville. I looked at the Iron Bowl in my special Thanksgiving edition of Kohlmeyer's Corner yesterday because there are 6 high school football North Half Finals. So we took a look at 5 o'clock, the 7A, 5A, and 4A, including our game of the week, brought to you by Casey Lott and Langston and Lott over across town at Tupelo High School with Oxford and Tupelo. So tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to take a look at the 3A, 2A, and 1A North Half Finals. On the line, a spot next week playing in that same stadium as Ole Miss and Mississippi State did earlier today. And let's start in Class 3A, Noxubee County and Winona. Look at the week that Jaden Taylor had last week in their win. He passed for 150 yards and a couple touchdowns. He ran for 133 yards on 18 carries and 2 more touchdowns, and he plays defense as well for Noxubee. He had 12 tackles for the Tigers. By the way, this is a battle of the Tigers and the Winona Tigers. They had quite a game last week by Yoshan Hudson, 273 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns on 14 carries. That's mind-blowing right there. Those are like video game numbers. And then there's Tez Davis defensively. He had 6 tackles. 4 of those were behind the line of scrimmage, had a couple sacks, but the stat that's just jumped off the page for me when I was researching these previews, 7 quarterback hurries. You just don't see it. He was a man on a mission, no doubt about that, last week. So we go from 3A, let's send it down to Class 2A as East Webster. What a year the Wolverines are having. They are hosting Kemper County with a spot in the state championship next week on the line. Kemper County, last week, Demarius Yates, 259 yards of all-purpose. That's pretty good. And 5 touchdowns, that'll get it done. They could use more of that tonight if they want to take care of a very good East Webster team on the road. Defensively, Tidarius Boyd had a nice game as well. 3 tackles, but he had a 75-yard pick 6 in that win last week. And when you're looking at East Webster, remember last week I was talking about the 2 quarterbacks that have each thrown for over 1,000 yards. Look what the 2 quarterbacks did last week. Cooper Stidham, 10 of 14 for $170 and 3 touchdowns. And then Cross Avant had his share of moments, 245 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. And he also had a 33-yard rushing touchdown. East Webster is loaded. Kemper County is going to have to play an A-plus game if they want to try to leave East Webster with a victory tonight. And then last but certainly not least, it is a showdown in Class 1A. We've been looking for this matchup all season long, and it will end up being a Calhoun City clash with Biggersville up in Alcorn County. And for Calhoun City, Harlan Pittman, their quarterback, only 5'7", but boy, he plays big, doesn't he? Including last week, had 143 yards of total offense, had a passing touchdown, he ran for a touchdown. And Calhoun City's defense only giving up 9 points a game. I think that's going to be the story tonight. Biggersville explosive offense against that stingy defense for Calhoun City. And Biggersville, when you talk about offense, you got to talk about Mr. Football in 1A this year. The quarterback, Zay Mays, last week, 20 of 31 through the air, 272, and a couple passing touchdowns. And his favorite target last week was Brooks Seago, 13 catches for 155 yards. He caught both of his touchdown passes, and Brooks Seago also plays defense. He had double digits last week in tackles with 10. So that sets up the matchups tonight. 5 o'clock, we took a look at 7, 5, and 4A. We just did 1, 2, and 3A. If you're heading to a game, be careful. Enjoy the game. And I can't wait to see who comes away with wins and advances to next week's state championships at Mississippi State. That's the story, though, now at 6 o'clock from here in the studio.
Well, I'm telling you, we'll just get to be prepared for all these games. I want to watch them and see how those stats compare for their finals tonight. So definitely going to be active all across North Mississippi. Thankfully, only active here in football terms, not really weather, so we can enjoy them with these chilly conditions ahead. But of course, here's the QR code for both our iOS and Android app. Same app, just on iOS and Android for all of y'all out there. We appreciate all the feedback and support you have given us for that app and for allowing it to stay up in the charts for this long. So definitely keep letting us know that feedback, that support. We take all of it into consideration and want to make sure that it is top notch for all of you out there. We appreciate hearing from you guys because we want to make sure it is the best for all of y'all out there. And also, of course, we will be live later on tonight to not only give you your game of the week highlights, but also announce your band and cheer squad of the week. I know it has been a fierce competition. I've been watching behind the scenes on that like count and view count on who's going to win. So make sure to get those last second votes in. Once I am wrapping up this broadcast, shutting everything down on my end, I already have my sheet ready to tally them all up. It has been a good competition so far, but excited to talk about it during the 10. But until the 10 o'clock broadcast, continue to enjoy y'all's Friday evening. Enjoy some football, especially if y'all are going out and watching them. And of course, some of our rivalries going on in the college world as well. But have a great evening, and we'll see y'all back here in the Room to Room Weather Center at 10.
I felt accomplished after I got my diploma. Made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
People tell me how lucky my daughter is to have been adopted. But really, we're the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.